Everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Max.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're at our new location in Tempe, Arizona. We merged with America's Motors. And we're going to talk about saturation. I think that's a big thing. And people mostly talk about it around off-season. So when it's slow, like right now, the past couple weeks have been slow for Arizona. And, every season's different for every market. But let's dive into it. Let's talk about, I kind of want to talk about what creates saturation in the Turo market and then how to solve it. Like what can you do to kind of counter it? Because when it's slow, it sucks. I mean, a lot of people don't think about alternatives or ways you can make more money or get more bookings. They just kind of sit there and say, well, this sucks. And then they'll start lowering their prices. And then it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah, it's
really, the prices?
It's unbelievable. It's become a rat race right now.
It's crazy.
Who can get the cheapest prices out there?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, even for us, we have some of our cars pretty low given, we do private rentals, which makes up for a good amount, but it's really low. And people going into Turo, they always buy brand new cars.
Yep.
They always do. That's the first thing that they do. They go to dealership, buy a brand new car, and for some reason, though, the new cars go for lower than the used cars. Have you seen that?
Yeah, in certain cases, depending on the vehicle, but I don't know.
I've seen it in Toyotas. People buy brand new Toyota, Corolla or Prius, the new, sedans. And the old ones, I've seen the old ones going for more than the new ones, which is crazy. Not that they're booked or anything, but the average price is more than. Which is crazy. I'm assuming the used ones are probably people that are in the business and have been in it, and then the new ones are probably people that just are getting into it and maybe don't know what they're doing, so they're doing Turo automated pricing.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of it is the Turo automated pricing. No one sets a floor to their pricing; they just turn it on. And if you look at some of the suggested prices,
it's crazy.
What Turo calculates,
it's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
They had our, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was our Ford C-Max, which is a nice car. I mean, we have an 18 and a 13, and so automatic, when you do automatic pricing, it has a high and low. What's your high end, what's your low end, and then it kind of builds the pricing based on that.
Yeah.
The suggested low was $28 a day.
Yeah, the ceiling and the floor.
Dude, that's crazy. $28 a day.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's just crazy low.
What doesn't make sense to me is, first of all, why would Turo encourage such low prices? Because they make more money based off of the price of the vehicle on a daily rate.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because they get a 10% cut.
Or do they make, they make 10 to 40, but don't you think they make more on add-ons, like young driver fee?
Yeah, and on the insurance side, they're making money, but it's all based off of the daily price, even insurances.
But then what you also have to think is, the more customers they get, the more they're going to continue to generate. Because if somebody books a car for $20 a day, dude, they're probably going to come back for $20 a day, almost no matter how bad the experience is, unless it's something crazy bad. But for $28 a day, and then of course the add-ons maybe comes out to $40 a day or something like that, dude, that's cheaper than any place you could ever get it. So if you're renting something for that cheap, you're probably going to come back.
Yeah, and I get that. Increase demand or supply right now, so the demand rises to grow the company. I could see that, but I'm hoping, they find that equilibrium and that price starts to rise again, because right now it's just...
Well, I think part of it is, there almost needs to be a band together. The Turo hosts need a band together, because if not, it's just because Turo can say whatever they want. Yeah. The 28 could be based on nothing. It could just be a number that they made up with the idea of, let's get as many new renters as possible on the platform. And then as that expands, they're going to keep coming back, and we're going to get continually more bookings at the cost of losing money up front, or hosts not being happy right now, or yada, 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 yada. Because I know back in the day, I've heard about this from a lot of people that we've talked to that have been in the business for a while. The Turo back in the day, when the prices were high, they're making more money. And now you just don't see that. I mean, it's just kind of a bloodbath in certain months.
Yeah, and even if you look back at last year, the prices and the utilization rates that we had last year were unbelievably higher than what we have, even this January, which is supposed to be a really good month. I was looking at our bookings for this upcoming month, and it's not looking too hot. For January, this is supposed to be a good month.
Yeah, I know.
Well, in our location, but
yeah, but I think something that I'm just realizing that I didn't realize, and probably what most people don't realize, is it's not necessarily about the months in general. It's about the weeks within the months. So I talked to a buddy of ours, and he's been telling me this. He's like, I'm telling you right now. He told me this like 3 months ago. He's like, the first 2 weeks in January are gonna suck.
Yeah.
He told me that. He warned me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But because I saw our last January, I'm like, dude, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that he's right. The first 2 weeks are really slow. So I think it's based on the weeks within the months, not just the months in general.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool feature if Turo released that allowed you to look at the numbers instead of just generalizing it for a month, but break it down for specific dates and stuff to see what kind of pricing and what it looked like last year. So you can either, look at that market data and then try to mimic something this next year, or, try to figure it out on a more in-depth level to really get it fine-tuned,
Yeah, that idea goes farther than that. I think Turo just needs to give more information on like numbers and data and customer information, because I feel like we have what they tell us, but what they tell us is so limited. But if they were to give us all that information, maybe we'd become more successful in the business, and then maybe they would become more successful as well. I'm not sure.
That's a really good point. I 100% agree with that.
Because, how far could we go with, unlimited data?
Yeah, being able to look at all the resources and all the information that they're collecting.
And they have it. It's not like they don't have it. Like, they have it. They have it stored. They have all that information.
Any tech company is going to have that information.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to look at that, or maybe persuade Turo. Come on, Turo, please let us have some more info.
Give us information. So, what do you think about people joining Turo? What do you think?
I don't know.
Saturation wise, because that's everybody says they're not sure if they should join it. They think it's really saturated.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that to an extent. It's there's a lot of factors to get you there. But I have a lot of friends that are getting into it now, and I tell them, it's a saturated market. There's rough months, but right now I think we're at an okay spot. There's still opportunity to make money if you buy the right car, if you set everything up right. There's still potential here, but with the saturation, it's making it harder and harder and harder to be successful.
Yeah, that's true. But I think I have a couple thoughts with that.
What?
Because there's different ways to do it. When you're getting into Turo, you can be really successful or you can fail really hard. It depends on the market and the type of cars you buy.
Yeah.
So how strategic you go into it. And then number two, which is what we're learning, is Turo's in the end-all be-all. Like, anybody getting into Turo, if they're going to build a massive brand and build a huge company, typically they're not going to stay on Turo forever. Like, it's a means to an end, if I'm saying that right, which means we're going to build it to the scale, and then the idea is we're going to go and build something else with that knowledge, because Turo gives like a super good basis of knowledge on car rentals, like understanding the process, understanding a lot of the pieces. Obviously, you don't understand the back end, which is like, I guess you understand their customer support, but like the marketing and the customer acquirement and stuff like that, like getting the customers and how you handle them and stuff like that.
No, yeah, I agree. It makes it easy for a small-time guy, but the second you start getting bigger, you start seeing, I don't know, there's a lot of limitation to what Turo has it set up.
Yeah.
Which, hopefully they're able to adapt and be able to, help support bigger hosts, which I'd love to see.
Yeah, but there's a lot of opportunity beyond that, like extended from that, as in like private rentals, which is what we're doing, or like a rideshare program, which is kind of based on private, or, there's just so many different things. And, I guess the main concept is private, but there's so many things in that you can do. Yeah. And there's so many things before that you can do. Like, we built our website and we were funneling traffic in to our Turo page. We should have started sooner, but it's probably a year after we started, and we were funneling traffic. But people can do that day one.
Oh, yeah.
1 car, super 2 cars. It doesn't matter, because, like, slow months are slow months. And, like, if you don't have bookings, you don't have bookings.
Yep.
But if you're getting traffic, the more eyes you see, the more people are going to convert. You probably have the same conversion metric, but you're just gonna have more people seeing it.
Yeah, as well as that's going to help you later on down the road for national SEO and having some reviews under your belt.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Build that stuff out. I think build that stuff out sooner than later. The website, Google My Business, Yelp if possible. Like have it all set up so then when you do go private, you at least have some sort of basis to go off of.
As well as it helps combat the saturation, because that's really it. At the end of the day, we're getting saturated. You have to get innovated innovated to set yourself aside from the rest of the groups, because I don't know, that's all you can really do right now.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think Turo? Well, because there's a couple pieces to saturation. There's more customers, and then there's more hosts. The more hosts meaning the saturation, but then there's more customers diluting the saturation or making it less saturated potentially.
Yeah.
And or I guess even not even more hosts, it's more cars being added to the platform.
Yeah.
Because that's really the number that applies to it.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, it'd be interesting to see at what rate they're both scaling. So how many cars are being added versus how many renters are being added to the platform. And then just, like, the movement of them. Because if there's a lot more cars being added than renters, like, obviously it's creating a saturated market.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not. And then maybe what we don't realize is, and what we have realized is, I mean, no matter what, saturation is also based on market demand. So if people aren't flying in, like Phoenix, people aren't flying here in the summer, so there's not much demand.
Yeah. You're going to have the same, Enterprise and Hearst is going to have the same issues.
Yeah.
Even if they have all their stuff figured out, there's only so much demand, depending on your market.
Yeah. But there's ways to obviously combat that, which is what we've been working on. And I think the way to combat saturation is stability.
Yep.
So things that, like having unlimited or super high utilization on all your cars, and the solutions that we've been working on, because like if somebody rents it for like a day or a couple days or a week for vacation, like they're going to come once a year, right?
Yeah.
But if somebody needs a car for insurance purposes, we haven't talked too much about this, but I've been thinking about it. If somebody needs a car for insurance, like insurance companies are always going to send people, and they're going to need stuff long term. So you're going to be able to fill your pipeline infinitely. Given the price per day is going to be low, the utilization is going to be high. Same with Uber drivers, because Uber drivers are going to rent cars anywhere from like, I don't know what the metric is, but it's a long time, like months on end.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if you could see Turo getting into something like that, like creating these partnerships with car manufacturers or, to help with leases or insurance companies, as well as cut that out.
You're just thinking about alternatives to long-term rentals?
Yeah, in partnerships and like partnering with Uber and Lyft so that they're able to, because Hertz is doing that right now. You go on Uber's website or their app, and you can see there's rentals through Hertz Enterprise, and there's a couple other ones.
And you know what they're doing that's smart, though?
What?
From what I've seen, there's tons of different programs out there for this. But Uber, obviously, you can only drive Uber. Lyft, you can only drive Lyft.
Yeah.
Hertz and Enterprise, you could probably drive both, but maybe sometimes only one or the other. And with these, from what I've seen, maybe it's only one of them, you only get so many personal miles, and it's very, very low. So the rentals are like, it's low. It's like $220, $250 a week, which is like, I mean, standard I've seen is like $300 to $400 a week. Sometimes more, depending on what it is.
300 miles?
No, $200 a week.
Wow.
No, yeah. No, it's more than that for miles. So that's the price. But these ones are really low, but they only allow like 50 personal miles a month.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
Yeah, or maybe it's more, but it's a very small amount, and anybody's going to be going over that.
Pause.
What's the deal?
I don't know. Oh, she's leaving. Bye, Sandra.
So they only give them a select amount of miles, a very, very small amount, and then anything they go over. I don't remember what the actual amount was, but it was like a couple dollars a mile.
Holy cow.
Which is crazy, and it makes you think like, okay, they must have done the math, or they're trying to figure out the math being, like, Uber drivers still drive their car personally. I don't know how you can tell the difference. Like, you'd have to be on Uber because Uber can track the miles to some extent. And like, if as a car rental company, we don't know the difference. I have no idea the difference between when they're driving and when they're not driving.
Yeah.
But if you can figure that out, because I'm sure people are driving more than that standard amount, which is 50 or 100 miles for a month for personal, and that's where you make the money. You don't make money on the rental monthly or weekly, whatever it is. You make the money on the personal miles used.
Wow.
I think that's genius.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. But I think people need to move into that. I mean, for long-term success, you just need high utilization on cars that don't depreciate
at a decent daily rate.
Yeah, I mean, but still, like, it doesn't have to be too good. I mean, we're talking about renting out for our Uber program, and we're talking about $1,300 a month divided by 30 days. That's $43 a day.
For a $7,000 to $10,000 car.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Which is what you want.
I'd even take less. I mean, think about, so the insurance payouts, right? Insurance only pays out a certain amount. You know this. Yeah. $35 a day. So 35 times 30. That's $1,000 a month. I'd still take that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're not. And we're not talking about, go back to what you just said. We're not talking about $10,000 cars. We're talking about $5,000 cars.
Yeah. But the issue with the insurance companies is their requirements are that the vehicle is newer than they have like a base. It's like 2 or 3 years old. And that's a problem.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the issue.
You looked into this?
Yes.
Really?
Yep. Dang. See, that's the only problem with it.
But so I don't know if this is the same with manufacturers. So manufacturer typically makes the people, so your car goes in service in Nissan. The manufacturer wants that customer to get a Nissan. And the only way around it is you have to send them a letter every time this happens and say, hey, we're going to put them into something else. So maybe there's a workaround with those cars, with the years.
That's interesting.
But still, like, if you look at that number, which is $1,000 a month given, that wouldn't make sense for a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 car, like, at all. Like, that would be silly. But for a $5,000 or $10,000 Prius with 140,000 miles, Gen 2, Gen 3, that are going to last a really long time, the only thing you're going to have to replace is, like, this ABS system thing. I don't know if it's brakes. It's something, not the brakes specifically, but something to do with the brakes, like the controls or something.
It has regenerative brakes.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is. And then the battery. But if those are the only two things you have to fix, for the most part, other than tires and
general maintenance,
brakes, like that's pretty damn good.
No, that's really good.
That's probably, what do you think? That's probably one of the biggest costs for people with a rental car company.
Yeah, that's a big one. My question at the end of the day is, we keep lowering our prices with this saturation. What the heck is Hertz and Enterprise going to do once we're getting to $30, $40 a day? Enterprise can't afford to drop their prices that low. They have so much overhead. Their margins are going to be so small that, ideally I love it if Turo, we can just all band together with all the low overhead, beat out Enterprise, and then it's we could just set the prices. I don't know, I'm going extreme here, but like,
I don't know.
If one day, you know, or they would have to scale back, which would give us more opportunity to the customer basis. But I don't know, because they have to pay taxes, their employees, I don't know if they rent or they own. No, they rent most of their locations. Like, that's going to add up so fast where, people that are renting their cars at home, they got personal insurance and they're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, with the insurance companies, it's a little bit different because they've been at low prices forever. Like, they've had the base price set for a really long time. The only advantage that we have going in, because we're not going to beat their price for their years. They have like nice cars, really low prices. Like, we're not going to beat that. Like, there's no way we can beat that because of the price that they're getting their cars for. But what we can do is we don't have the vetting system that they do. Their vetting is so strong, as in, like, they let so many people slip through the cracks. They don't have a credit card. If they don't have bills showing their address, if it doesn't match their ID, if they don't have their return flight, if they're an out-of-state traveler, like, they just have the most random stuff.
Yeah, no, their policies are so strict. And that's probably for insurance purposes to make.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure
could
that
go in and talk about that for hours.
yeah, I'm sure that they have I'm sure that they have their own policy though, or something that they're selling. Like they've got to have their own insurance policy.
Yeah.
As in like, because we buy insurance, but they probably are like the base of the insurance. Like they own their own insurance company or something.
That'd be really interesting to find out if that's the case.
They have to have something. I mean, with that much volume of insurance that they're selling,
Yeah.
I mean, they've got to be making so much money on it.
Yeah, or they just have a separate company that they own. Yeah, that's probably how it is.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yeah, because we make money on insurance, and we're white gloving it. We're third partying it essentially. Yeah. But yeah, I wonder what they got set up. Yeah. Final thoughts for me are just whether you stay in Turo. Well, first off, Turo can be very saturated. Just try to find creative ways to increase conversions, increase customers, which would be like start doing private, start an Uber program, or build a website, build a Google My Business, like start getting traffic and start partnerships with hotels and stuff. But Turo doesn't have to be the end all. Like Turo can be the learning platform. Maybe you're not making a ton of money on Turo, but it's the learning platform to jump into the next thing, which is like your private business or something like that, which of course, if you want to be in it. And there's a lot more revenue to be generated, but you have to learn the basics, and starting out with private can be tough. I know some people that have done it, but I mean, there's just so many mistakes you can make. Yeah. What about you? What are your final thoughts?
I got a lot of them, but I think that Turo, I love it to see if all of us hosts can slowly start to rise these prices back up. Not crazy high, but just get it, high enough where, I don't know, they're just getting so low. As well as I'd love to see it if Turo can start getting some partnerships where they're able to increase utilization on our end without much effort at all, like Uber programs and partnering with manufacturers or however they want to do that. But, creating more opportunities for us. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Well, and you know what happens, right? When they dive in, they do these huge marketing things. We get more bookings. We make a lot more money. We make videos like this. Then the people start coming. Yeah. Then we're just back over and over, and it's just a
circular motion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rat race. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for the support, and excited to see the next video.
Yeah. Thank you guys for everything.